Kids then and now would love to wrestle with siblings, if available, as a mode of playtime during this whimsical time in their lives. However, parents for the most part dislike their children roughhousing, so in order to settle a middle ground between entertainment and violence, under parental supervision of course, the kids can watch on TV the best wrestlers around instead. We've all at one point in our lives tuned in our TVs to watch WWE Raw on Monday nights, SmackDown every Friday, or sometimes NXT on Tuesdays. But primetime wrestling reaches its annual peak at none other than Wrestlemania, an event telecast all over the world where wrestling superstars like Ric Flair, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Big Show, Mick Foley, Triple H, The Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, and Roman Reigns have made themselves household names. Welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Rich. In this video, we'll be talking about Wrestlemania, the history behind it, and the wrestling superstars that will be participating this year. Before we begin this video, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. You can also leave future video ideas in the comments down below. The history behind Wrestlemania. Ever since World Wrestling Entertainment was established as far back as 1953 and has cemented itself as the world's leading professional wrestling promotion since it has exchanged hands within the MCMAHON family until settling under the tenure of businessman, pro wrestling promoter, and former CEO Vince McMahon, who built the incorporation as it is now. In 1985, Wrestlemania was created as the flagship that would lead the way for all wrestling events within the promotion, dubbing itself as the greatest wrestling event of all time. Wrestlemania revolves around the WWE Championships, where participants from Raw, SmackDown, and other WWE brands would compete for the belt. Debuting at the Madison Square Garden in New York with WrestleMania I on March 31, 1985, it has been an annual WWE PPV premiere since, as well as the longest-running pro wrestling event of all time. It's had huge successes in viewership, with WrestleManias 32 and 38 as prime examples, which were both held at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, having seated 101,763 and 156,352 fans respectively, making the event one of the most attended indoor sports events in the world. These figures have been speculated to be skewed in favor of commercial purposes, however, particularly WrestleMania 32, so take these numbers with a grain of salt. Besides professional wrestlers, it also had its own fair share of celebrity appearances, such as sportsman-like NFL professional linebacker Lawrence Taylor, three-time World Boxing Heavyweight Champion and Olympic gold medalist Muhammad Ali, and fellow heavyweight Mike Tyson, as well as prominent musicians for its musical intermissions like John Legend, Machine Gun Kelly, and Snoop Dogg. There have been near cancellations of the event, however, the most recent and well-known being WrestleMania 36 during the immense international lockdowns of the COVID pandemic on March 25 to 26, 2020, and the event wasn't broadcast until April 4 to 5. It was filmed on separate locations in Orlando, Florida, and had no fans seated at the event to comply with social distancing. It was also the first WrestleMania to be taken 2 days, turning WrestleMania into a 2-day event since. Despite all these challenges, there's no sign of it going away or slowing down anytime soon, and WrestleMania 39 will be living proof of that. According to the My Arlington TX newsletter, the last 12 WrestleManias have generated over $1 billion in cumulative income for the cities that have hosted it, as well as $24.8 million in taxes. It also states that WrestleMania 38 generated over $206.5 million in direct, indirect, and induced economic impact from fans from all 50 states as well as 53 countries, which was equivalent to 1,777 jobs being created within the city, as well as $25.4 million in accommodations. Maybe the pro in pro wrestling could also stand for profit. On to this year's WrestleMania. WrestleMania 39 will be streamed live on WWE Network and Peacock on April 1st weekend as a 2-day PPV event at the SoFi Stadium in Hollywood. The event makes a return to Los Angeles since WrestleMania 21 in 2005, as well as being the second it steps foot on Tinseltown. It is a premium pay-per-view WWE event like Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and the Survivor Series, but unlike the three, being a top showstopper is where all of wrestling culminates through championship matches for numerous WWE Championship titles, the top two being the WWE World Heavyweight and WWE Universal Championships. It If a wrestler holds both the World Heavyweight and the Universal belts, that wrestler would be proclaimed as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, which is currently held by former The Shield member Roman Reigns after claiming victory at WrestleMania 38. How fitting for a reigning champ, indeed. The events to be announced for this year's WrestleMania have very interesting matchups, as well as participants. For the championship matches that will culminate, Reigns will defend his Universal title against Raw wrestler Cody Rhodes. For the SmackDown Women's Championship title, its current defender is seven-timer Charlotte Flair, daughter of Hall of Famer Ric Flair, who will fend off against former NXT and Raw champion Rhea Ripley. In Raw's Women's Championships, current champion Bianca Belair will face off against Japanese underdog Asuka. An intermissional singles match between heavyweight champ Brock Lesnar and Raw Tag Team champ Omos follows, which precedes the Intercontinental Championship between its current holder, Gunther, and his opponent, who will be determined after the SmackDown match between four-time world champ Sheamus and two-timer Drew McIntyre on March 17. The United States Championship comes afterwards, which is between its current champ Austin Theory against fan favorite, action movie star, multiple championship holder, and ice cream enthusiast John Cena. A six-woman tag team match is also in the mix. The most notable match, however, appears to be a celebrity exhibition match. As of writing, this is the only confirmed match to take place at Night 1 on April 1st, which is a singles match between another former member of The Shield, Seth Rollins, against controversial internet icon and recent WWE addition Logan Paul. Is this an April Fool's joke? For context, Logan is one of the Paul brothers, a pair of YouTubers, the other being Jake. They are both notorious for their reputation on the internet, with Jake being an obnoxious personality whose music is oftentimes ridiculed. When it comes to this brotherhood, Logan puts himself on the short end of the stick for being the person who made the unfortunate choice of being himself within Tokyo's Suicide Forest at the end of 2017 and having a half-hearted apology to make up for it. To save face, Logan has had celebrity exhibition matches against fellow YouTuber KSI, as well as undefeated boxing champ Floyd Mayweather Jr. after his bout with Mayweather. Paul even taunted UFC featherweight Conor McGregor after his performance as a brag, which hardly resembles his redemption arc at all. With that out of the way, would his probable victory against Rollins for this upcoming WrestleMania change the people's opinion on Logan? Or will his reputation be continually stained? Or a third option, where it would just be another milestone to his growing professional career? Well, he is proof enough that wrestling knows no bounds besides the rings. It doesn't matter who you were or are once you're on top of that foam and plywood. What matters is that you are on in the first place. WWE is the closest we'll ever get to the gladiatorial combat days of old, but with less of the barbaric practices we once had. Stage or not, it's still terrific how we as an audience get a kick out of people beating the heck out of each other for sport. But isn't that how most, if not all sports are anyway?